All right, welcome back to the final reaction. We are giving you a review today for the 2021 edition film Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat.
It's like
such a great title.
Mortal
Mortal Kombat. So real quick on that story, those guys had like 10 days to come up with the soundtrack for the original 1995 film. They killed it. Absolutely loved it. You don't get to see that spoiler alert until the very, very end, the casting or the credits. This is going to be a spoiler discussion since it's been out for over a week right now. We won't go too much into this. We're going to do a quick review, but we're going to talk about whether we liked it, whether we didn't like it, maybe a little bit comparisons to the game and the movies. I'm going to start off just a little bit. By the way, Nick here.
Gabe, the Night Watchman.
Wait.
Wrong channel. How do you work with this low-class talent, Nick? Gabe.
I just ignore it.
The crime fighter. That's right. I'm wearing the Batman gear.
Oh, I like that. The crime fighter. So with Mortal Kombat 2021, there was a lot of hype. I was super excited for it. I was not expecting Scorsese, right? I was not expecting Oscar winning. I wanted to have a story that was good enough to follow, and it made me care about these characters I love from the games and the original film.
Right.
And I've got to say right off the bat, for me, this was a little bit of a letdown. And I don't think I built it up too much. It was fun reacting to the trailers, and the opening scene is still amazing. I love the opening scene. I just wish the whole film was similar to that opening scene. I don't mean by like the time period, this or that, but just how they let it like simmer and they let these characters develop a little bit. They told us a lot without telling us too much. I thought that was a beautiful opening scene. And then the rest of the film kind of went in its own direction. There's a lot of things I liked about it, but I was just overall a little disappointed.
You know, I got to disagree with you. I can't disagree with you even more. I know there's two camps in this movie, and there's people who love this movie, people that hate this movie. Here's what it is. What this movie did well is that it gave backstories to characters, and it built the world of Mortal Kombat. So if you weren't familiar with Mortal Kombat other than the video game or whatnot, you knew it was like a violent video games parents did not allow their kids to play back in, late 90s, early 2000s or whatnot. It might have been the early 2000s, not late 90s. Any which way, I'm dating myself here. Mortal Kombat, one of the good things about the games is the story, bro. And as you follow the story, bro, it gets to the point, if you follow through all the different ones, that Raiden actually ends up killing Liu Kang, his champion or whatever, because a whole bunch of crazy stuff that happens in the game, but he realizes that's the only way to save the earth. But what it did is it establishes the fact that this is like a prequel, basically. So it's before the movie that we would have seen in the original Mortal Kombat, before the actual tournament. So what did we see? We got to see some world building, how Jax lost his arms, right? We got to see what happens to Liu Kang, because he never even shows up in the first one. Not Liu Kang, excuse me, to Kung Lao, right? Liu Kang's cousin. And I loved all those things about it. Now, there were things that didn't work for me as well, Nick, but as far as the story, I couldn't disagree with you more. They actually gave me some story, and I liked the story they gave, the background they gave. The acting is, to me, where it fell short a little bit. We'll talk about that when I talk about my dislikes. But I love the story and the action scenes. Bro, the fatalities. Oh, my gosh. The opening scene was bananas to begin. The Hanzo storyline with Bihan was amazing. And,
before we get to the action, because, yes, the action was amazing. I have no problem with that. Let's go back to the story. I didn't feel like there was a story at all. I feel like this movie should have been titled Highlights from the first Mortal Kombat film. A film that's supposed to be 6 hours long. That I would have been okay with, because it was jumping around here and there. It was focused a lot of time on characters I personally did not care about, like the Sonya Blade and whatnot. Right. I like the Jax character, so it kind of balanced it out a little bit.
Right.
I did not care about her getting that mark, but I didn't feel like there was much story here. You start off with Hanzo, and then you don't really hear or see Hanzo again until later on in the film. I did like the Cole Young. I thought that was a cool storyline. I really appreciated that. But there was even parts, it was so uneven in the pacing and the editing. It was so uneven. The story was all over the place. I don't even know really what the story was. You said it's a prequel before the tournament. I didn't even get that when I'm watching the film. I was thinking that this is just like their like ghetto version of doing the tournament or whatever, if you will. So I felt like there wasn't really a story in this film. And I'm a huge story guy.
Right.
I don't need great acting in a film like this. I don't need it at all. But I need dialogue that's at least easy enough for me to digest. And the dialogue was atrocious in a lot of different ways. But that was my biggest complaint. Right. That, and I gotta say this because I'm one of the only people on the entire planet that feels this way. I am really bothered by overusage of the F-bomb. I understand that people in the world use that from time to time. Some people speak like sailors, and that's fine. But the people that I know, whether they this or that about it, I don't hear it every other word. And there were certain characters like Kano and Cabal, and I love Cabal, by the way, and I love Kano's character, by the way, where every line of dialogue was fit around that F-bomb. We got the F-bomb here. What are we going to say around that word? Every single line had to have it, and I felt like that was just horrible writing. If you're going to have it, Jax had a great line when he used it, when he finished that guy. That was perfect. I had no problem with that because that seemed authentic. But it just seemed like Kano was just like every sentence I got to say it at least once or twice. And so for me, I'm just thinking like, why? Like the 1995 film we still talk about, we still laud PG-13, maybe 1 or 2 F-bombs, right? Is anyone saying that movie would only have been better if it had 85 F-bombs? That's my small little tangent right there, but I'm going to go off of that. But you mentioned the action. The action was fantastic. The fatalities were fantastic. The one-liners they used from the game, maybe a little cheesy, but used perfectly for me. I had no problem with those. Those were so great. I love the Goro fight with Cole Young. I just wish that Goro didn't look so CGI, and I get it. They're not going to put $1 million into it, but it's still, like the trailer, it still kind of took me out of it. It was good, but not great. But I think the best fight was easily the one at the end, where you had Cole Young, you had Scorpion, and you had Bihan. The fighting was great. Jax's fight was fantastic, too.
You know, first and foremost, it's funny. I actually noticed it. And sometimes I'll watch a movie and I'll tell Nick, hey, watch this movie. And he'll be like, bro, the dialogue. And I don't even notice it. Like, oh, wow, I didn't notice it because I don't look for it, right? It doesn't bother me as far as the F-bomb. But this one did. Have you ever seen the SNL skit about The Sopranos if it was on network television? And it was like, and it's so funny because it's jump cuts. Where's get me the guy, and it's cut because they have to edit out all the F-bomb. Hey, get me the guy. What did I? And it was just cutting because every other that's what it felt like. Like, and I actually did see it. So I feel what you're saying there. And the only reason why I picked it up is because I was watching it with my kids. Okay, they were super excited for this movie. So
exactly.
I feel what you're saying there, and it did bother me a little bit. With that being said, I enjoyed the story. The story is very simple. All right. We get the fact that they've on their 10th Mortal Kombat, they've won 9 in a row, and it's through cheating because they're taking out the champions before they even get the Mortal Kombat. So they're starting to set the what do you call it? The groundwork for the tournament for why we don't see other guys. And Shang Tsung, we find out who he is. We get to see his powers, but I loved all of that. Okay, for me, you say the acting.
I liked that too.
You say the acting doesn't matter to you. It does matter to me. I thought Kano
in a film like awesome. This, it does.
Yeah, no. I know what you're saying. I thought Kano was hilarious. He was a scene stealer. Every scene he was in was awesome. Again, I enjoyed Kano. I hated Sonya Blade's character. I don't know. She just didn't act it well. Okay, the first Sonya Blade in the first Mortal Kombat wasn't the greatest either. What's her name, Nick?
Bridget Wilson, I think.
Yeah. Bridget Nielsen, is it Nielsen or what's? I don't remember.
Probably Nielsen.
Yeah. She's married to Pete Sampras, but she was better. Okay, this one, like the lines didn't hit. You know what I mean? She was like a fake gun ho. Like to me, that was the one blaring acting choice that I'm like, I wish they would have picked a different actor. But I enjoyed it. Like you said, the fight scenes was awesome. The opening 7 minutes, man, we got a lot of love on the channel when people watch that, and it was unbelievable. And guess what? The last 7 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever that fight was in the gym scene between Bihan, Sub-Zero, okay, and Hanzo with Scorpion and his descendant, okay. Spoiler alert, Cole Young was awesome. They got it in, cousin.
Yes.
Bro, the one scene is when they're fighting with the swords and Sub-Zero cuts Hanzo or Scorpion at this point. Blood comes out of him. He freezes the blood, turns into a thing. Bro, that was bananas.
And I saw that in the trailer, and I thought to myself, he's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill Scorpion right here because how do you come back from that? No, the fights were fantastic. I like the Cole. We've seen the Cole Young storyline many times where a guy who has the potential, he can't figure it out, and he figures out the right time. but it worked for me completely. I really, really liked that character. I'm pretty sure he's not from any of the games. I think they just made up for the movie. Another thing they made up for the movie that I want to talk about just for a few minutes is the idea of the Arcana, the power within that they have to find with their mark that they get. And once they untap that, once they release that, then they're able to use their powers that they have. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was so cool. I thought they added a different element to as opposed to just like they're a champion because they were born with the power and they never told anyone about it and it was never on the news. No, they had to find that within. Same thing with Cole Young. He had that stamp since his birth, right? And because he was in that bloodline and he couldn't tap it in until the right time. I thought that was really cool and a lot of fun. And I will say, even though I could not stand the Sonya Blade character, I loved how she found hers, and we got to see a little throwback with the lasers. And she said that was, thanks to Kano. I thought that was really cool. I thought that redeemed her to a certain degree. Let's talk about some of our favorite characters. Okay, we've already mentioned some, and the actors that played them. Right. I thought that Josh Lawson, even though his dialogue was my favorite, he did a great job as Kano. I agree with you on that one. Tandanobu Asano, who played Lord Raiden, I thought was fantastic. I thought he, some of the delivery of the dialogue was a little stiff, but I thought he was fantastic. I wanted to see more of him. I hope we see him more in the sequels because there's a whole bunch of sequels. Makad Brooks, this is the guy from Supergirl. Ozjot had to tell me about that. This is the guy who plays Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl.
Yeah. Okay.
I did not see Jimmy Olsen from Supergirl at all in this character. He made it his own. Right. He's always been a big guy, but I think he got even bigger for this. I think Jax is probably my favorite character. I thought that character, for whatever reason, I thought it was fantastic. And I got to give love to Makad Brooks. Ludi Lin, I didn't recognize him from Power Rangers as Liu Kang. The wig was kind of throwing me off or whatever, but he was still really cool. That guy was super jacked. Basically, I liked all these characters. Joe Taslim did an amazing job as Sub-Zero. He was so awesome.
My favorite.
Amazing job. Max Huang as Kung Lao did an awesome job. Sissy Stringer as Melina did an awesome job. I think Daniel Nelson, the voice of Cabal. I love seeing Cabal in there. That was so cool. Sorry, the voice was Damon Harriman. But did I miss? Yeah, Louis Tan as Cole Young was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. One thing I did not like, and I'm sorry, it's just like I'm picking on all the girls here. I'm not trying to. But the girl that played his wife, she's there with her daughter. And every time they see her, again, they have to throw that, has to have F-bomb in every line of her dialogue, where it just didn't really make any sense either. So for that, it kind of took that character out of it for me, but she didn't really have too much to do. She was pretty cool, but I loved most of the characters here.
I mean, without a doubt, to me, the two best characters are Hanzo Hashi, who's Scorpion. That was played by Hideyuki.
Oh, yeah, and Scorpion, too. Tanada. He was fantastic.
Bro, I love that. I love the interaction between him and Bihan, who's a Sub-Zero. I think I could have had a movie just around those two. Honestly, it was so awesome. And the way they played with Sub-Zero, right, where they almost made him, as the boogeyman, they almost made him like a mythological character. When he first introduced, when he's coming into, not the 7 minutes, but when he's coming after Cole Young, and he's using all the, dude, that was cool. And then he's sick. At the house behind, like he almost became like this, a Freddy Krueger or like a boogeyman character. I love the almost horror element shots. I don't know if you've seen that. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's what I'm saying. I know Chris, who's also a part of our channel, Boring Reviews. Chris loved this film. I absolutely love this film. Is it a perfect film? No, not a perfect film, guys. Don't go in looking for a perfect film. But if we're looking for a video game movie adaptation, I would argue outside of maybe Sonic the Hedgehog, yes, watch Sonic the Hedgehog if you haven't. It was awesome. This is up there. This is, in my opinion, the best. And I'm going to sound blasphemous right now, Nick. I think it's better than the first Mortal Kombat.
I do not agree. And I understand some things from the first one don't hold up. And a lot of the things from the first one are now campy. But I feel like my experience watching that the first time, and yes, I was a kid, but my experience watching that the first time, even if you take the F-bombs out, and my experience watching this the first time, I still put the first one, give it an edge. But this is a nice addition to the series there. The fatalities were so great. The action was so great. I think we talked about all the points that I want to talk about. The Arcana thing. For me, the thing that really slowed down too was like the whole training part in Liu Kang and that little desert part. That I didn't really have too much interest in that whole exchange. But the fights were great, and they led up to those final fights. All the final fights, even Kano, Sonya Blade, was really, really cool. A lot of jaw-dropping moments. Final thoughts on this film. I can see myself watching it again. It's not one of my favorites. I'm excited it exists, and I'm excited for the future, but I think we need to go to a different director. I really do. I think we need to go to someone that, I mean, if you could have given me like that first 7 minutes in the entire film and still do the action and still do the cheese, all that kind of stuff, it would have been a better film. Just put a little more time into the development of it. But maybe that's not what the audience wants. I don't know. That's just what I want. I'm going to give this film, Mortal Kombat 2021, I'm going to give it a C+. I really am. There's a lot of parts of it I liked, but it's just there's so much part of it that I was just not really interested in.
I'm gonna give it a solid B, brother. Solid B. I think so. The acting, fell a little short as far as, like I said, Sonia Blade, and they should have spent some more time with the storyline of Bihan and Hanzo. But other than that, I love this film. Like I said, I think it's the second best video game adaptation as far as the films are concerned. So I'm gonna give it a B. But it doesn't matter what I think, doesn't matter what Nick thinks, guys. It matters what you think. So please let us know in the comment below if you like this film. Give us your rating. Are you excited for a sequel? And what your favorite character was in this film. But those are our final thoughts. Nick, I'll turn it over to you, my friend.
Thank you so much for checking us out. Like Gabe said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. We're very interested. I know what I gave you might not have been what you thought. What Gabe gave you might not have been what you thought. But we're not trying to convince you. We're just sharing our thoughts, and we want to hear your thoughts, like he said. Thank you so much, and until next time.
This is the way.